Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, I am going to share, but it doesn't give me the option to share. Why? I see. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah. Okay, it's already here. YouTube one. All right, this one. This one. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbana hab lana min ladunka rahmah wa hayyi lana min amrina rashada. Rabbi la tadharni fardan wa anta khairul warithin. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا اللهم ارحمنا اللهم ارحمنا اجلينا اللهم استخدمنا في خدمة القرآن والإيمان والإسلام ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. I am not prepared, of course, and I just was informed that the Fariha and Asim wouldn't be able to join. Then they asked me to start the discussion and take care of the recording, which I could do it right now. Before I couldn't, sorry. So as far as I know, we were left. My note says we were left at this paragraph. So let's see what our friends will say. I will just read it and we will work together on it, inshallah. Please participate, prepare for it, please. One sought who is lost in ephemerality, I don't want to such a one. For I am ephemeral, and I don't want one who is thus, who is like me. What should I do? I mean, this section is called here, the one, but the translation of the word is, I don't love, but when it said, he said, I love not those that said. That's a very famous phrase in the Quran, and especially the Sufi tradition uses it very frequently, and it is really worth repeating and using it. And as a reminder to ourselves, it is rightly done so by the Sufi tradition. I love it because it really represents my feelings. So last week we understood that we are going to study the cryings of our hearts. A heart, as everybody knows, and we keep repeating it, represents our feelings. Our feelings cry for satisfaction. So here, when I consult my feelings, what do you want? It says, my feelings says here, because of the temporary nature of the things of the whole world, all universe, everything around me, including my own existence, apart from my feelings, which seek after eternity, all my feelings, my reality of the rest of the world is the same, transient, and I don't, since I myself are transient, why should I bother about transient things? I will die, they will die as well. They don't satisfy me. That's why with the expression La uhibbul afilin. So a worshipped one who is buried in death because of the transient nature of the things, whatever we are really striving for, we have to think. Although I know it is very difficult for me to practice it. It may be easy for you, but it is very difficult for me to practice it. I am struggling for something in this world. That is my reality. But I don't always concentrate on the nature of what I am struggling for, what is the objects of my life right now, practically. I don't want to see that this is transient, or I'm not aware of it. Only when I consciously, deliberately think about it, then I realize. So if I am expecting any satisfaction from them, that is why a worshipped one who is buried in death, I understood from this that a worshipped one, actually who, don't say, I would rather say not who really, what is buried in death, because I don't really expect any satisfaction from human beings. I know them, I can see them, including myself. He is dying and I'm dying as well. I'm going to die definitely. So that is why this, whatever who is pronoun or whatever it is, it must be what? Because we lay, I lay my trust, my source of satisfaction in other things, maybe to a certain extent. For us, for human beings, within my new generation, my children, my grandchildren, say that they may take care of me, but they may take care of me until I die. I know that everybody knows it, but other things that we are really seeking after, we don't think that much because they don't seem to be going to die in their nature. I see, for example, I want to have something and it seems to be, it is durable, something like that. Maybe it will last longer than my life. That is why, or mostly, that's why we are, I'm not really thinking about their nature, but practically speaking, the main problem, not really deliberately thinking about them, and thinking that they may be everlasting one. No. The main problem in my practical life is I don't think about it. I say I need it and run after it. But this is in the term used in this phrase, worshipped. Why? Because I'm seeing it as the source of satisfaction itself. So I shall not call them, I would read this sentence, this phrase here, I should not call them. For me, I should, but unfortunately I do, but I should not. I shouldn't. I shall not seek refuge with him. It means you are the one, you will be my hope, source of hope. I shouldn't do that. For I am infinitely needy and impotent, because I am totally infinite. Yeah, we know that, impotent, needy. I cannot really guarantee anything. I know that. Everybody knows it, I think. One who is impotent or one that is impotent can find no cure for my boundless ills. Ills means shortcomings, not really being satisfied. ills, need but not satisfied. That is a problem in me. That's why I think the author calls it ills, not necessarily that medical illness only, no. It may be partially, temporarily, sometimes, very rarely, illness, bodily illness. Otherwise, the ills is my spiritual ills. Those feelings look for satisfaction. These are boundless. Why I cannot count, because none of my feelings are really satisfied in this world. He can spread no salve on my eternal wounds, no solution, really, no healing. My eternal wounds, because my feelings are eternal, expectations are eternal, and also perfect. I want everything perfect and eternally. I should never, ever forget this. And it is a very interesting contrast between I want perfect eternally, but this universe, any part of this universe is imperfect and temporary, not eternally transient. That is the main problem, that I cannot find satisfaction in this world. Okay, how can who cannot save himself from death be an object of worship? We think that, and some people really, very boldly, very not as a result of deep thinking, the universe seems to be eternal, but they know that it is not eternal. They themselves, those people, claim that the universe seems to be eternal. They themselves claim that the universe has a beginning and certain time period of existence. It means anything has a beginning, must have an end. But how are they going to solve the problem? We all know that it is going to go into black hole and become full of energy of an atom, and then this atom will explode again. That is why eternity, as if they are making a legend. Do they have any evidence for it? No, just absolute 100% speculation. They also know we don't have any evidence for it. But we see that the things are dying. They say black hole, but the things are dying. I know human beings are in the grave. They are dying as well. It is not a magical or unexpected findings, discoveries, scientific discoveries. Everybody knows everything is dying. So, I mean, that is nothing new on this area, and also we cannot have any hope in scientific interpretations, because after I die, even the universe continues forever. For what? What good it makes to me? What help it brings to me? Nothing. I'm gone in the eye of a materialist people. So even their interpretations cannot satisfy me at all. What am I going to do then? All right, let's go to the next paragraph. Indeed, the reason which is obsessed with externals, why the reason is described here as an object which obsessed with externals. Anybody previous paragraph and this one? Any answer, please? It's very easy, but let's talk about it, to make it clear so that it may remain in our minds and feelings. Reason, why is it obsessed with externals? Can the reason go into eternity or not? Any idea?
I think because we start with reasoning, anything we do, logically speaking. So people go to school because they know, okay, after graduating, I'll get a job, and logically, this is the sequence that we are set up with. And so anything we do starts with reasoning, which is very apparent. And here the author says, which is obsessed with externals like end goals, getting this, and it never ends. However, once we realize the transience, ephemerality of this creation, then definitely even the reason starts crying out that, wait a minute, how did I end up concluding or getting lost into achieving end goals? Just some thoughts. And the other part of your question was, how can reasoning reach infinity? Was that it? If that was the question, then yeah, I guess through the whole experiential are the experiences that one goes through, then there's a realization within oneself about the need for perfect satisfaction and eternity.
Thank you. It is help. Thank you, which is great. An extension, I just wanted to add to what you said, Feriha, the nature of reasoning. We should understand that reason functions only through the data or 5 external organs of feelings or tools: eye, nose, tongue, ears, and touching. The data which are collected by these, that is what reason, human mind, can make process out of it, out of them. But when feelings direct their need to reason, reason can only say, let it be very simple, La ilaha. Reason cannot go into illallah, but it only says La ilaha, but there must be something I cannot collect any information from. That is the nature of reason we have to realize. Why we need to realize this? That is only after reasoning comes to this, if you like, dead end, cul-de-sac, then feelings say, I am not satisfied. I want eternity. Yeah, because the reason says there is no point of worship really worth putting my trust in something which is worth. Thank you. And Suhail.
Oh, sorry, you can finish.
I'm done. Yeah, that is what the nature of reason, as far as I understand. That's what I wanted to add to what Feriha said. Add addition.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't think you read this part yet, but he says, and then the spirit which seeks for eternal beloved utters the cry, I love not those that set. Because it's reason doesn't. I mean, it's interesting, the sections about I love not those that set. In other words, it's putting love, or how I feel, or my heart, at the center of this sort of process, or it's the driving force, as you said, because reason in and of itself can't do anything beyond what it's given in front of it, what's a plain or external or demonstrable. And, to your point about getting lost in the world, especially materialist scientists, there's no, like, nobody ever discusses or mentions the sort of human feeling of love, or this need, or the heart, this need to try to um, uh, satisfy this human feeling for eternity. That's it's interesting is that people try to even reason that away, which doesn't make any sense. It's if anything irrational, because you can't reason away the need for eternity. There's no means, like, you can't. The need for eternity is not, as he would say, it's not external. Like, you can't actually demonstrate it physically speaking. So how do you reason it away? You can't. Like that, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's just how things have evolved," or "It's just how matter's arranged." That's why I feel the need for eternity, or the need to live, or to be and to not die, or to. I mean, the fact that human beings even try to survive, try to eat and drink, and find shelter, or work, or form a society. You can't explain that from reason in and of itself, because the fact that I need to to want to live, and not to live just temporarily but eternally, then, as you said, reason reaches a dead end. You can't explain that from within the world in and of itself. It has to point to something beyond the world. But there's no, you can't bring that into a discussion, because that seems like it's unscientific or irrational, even though it doesn't really, it's not irrational. It's just that you can't, it's not a demonstrable thing. It's not a thing that's physically apparent. It's human, and it's undeniable. Otherwise, why would, these materialist scientists, they themselves make a profession out of denouncing belief? What's the need for that? Why do they feel so compelled to talk about religion or God if it's irrelevant? But to me, this sort of idea of love, or feeling of love, that is a very much so important driving force behind humans. This need for satisfaction, and you can't ignore it. It's it is the reason, so to speak, I guess, that people do anything, and you can't explain it from within matter or from within the world. It's impossible to do so.
Thank you. Yes. No, you can't. You are right. So I will just continue. I think the case is clear enough to understand and really internalize it. So reason cannot find the solution, because it is obsessed with externals, cries out despairingly at seeking the death of the things it worships in the universe. That's why the reason itself says, La ilaha, I cannot find the solution, I cannot show the solution, but says, okay, La ilaha, so what am I going to do? It means I cannot really lay my trust, my hope in anything in this world. But at the same time, is it the solution? Human being says, is it the solution? Because feelings force reasoning. Come on, find out a solution. It says, no, I can't. So cries out at seeing the death of the things it worships in the universe. And so that is one side of the story. The reason surrendered, declared it is bankruptcy to be the source of satisfaction for human expectations, human feelings. So the spirit which seeks for an eternal beloved. First of all, eternal. We know that our feelings can be satisfied only with an eternal one. And beloved, because it loves it, not only wants it, loves it. If someone thinks that if I buy this beautiful house, I will be eternally happy, but without reason, without with this thinking, they cannot say that. But without thinking, just emotionally engaged because he bought a million or multi-million house, oh, I'm going to satisfy myself. Things, but in a few months, he understands, realizes, no, I'm going to die, although it remains much longer than I do, but I'm going to die. No, it understands. That is why we cannot love the things. We desire to have them, thinking that it may satisfy, even on a temporary base, my expectations. But when I consciously think about it, I know it doesn't. So the spirit, human spirit, utters the cry. It means really cries out and says, no, they cannot save me. Nothing can save me in this world. I love not those that said. That's what the verse says. All the transient, ephemeral things, I cannot love them. I may temporarily want to have them, own them, but I cannot love them with my feelings, hoping that they will really satisfy me. It is impossible. So I'm continuing if there is no more comment.
I wanted to ask that so in the sentence that follows this too, I do not want separation, and the idea that a human being or a conscious human being is always desirous of its source, the evidence or the argument that a conscious being is always desirous of of its beloved or its source, the evidence for this is primarily a experiential one. It's primarily coming from our feelings, because I'm wondering what sort of reasonable or rational argument is there to say that one should desire its source. What my understanding is that it is primarily, if not fundamentally, one that is just coming out of one's experience or how they feel. Is that correct?
I think so.
There's no rational explanation for why one desires their source of being.
Yeah. A rational explanation? No. If I just dump my feelings, no. That is why those people who deny the emotional, feeling, spiritual side of human beings, they seem to be not really explicitly experiencing the pain of transience. They are convincing themselves with reasoning only, without really taking notice of the feelings, that they will at least until die, they will try to satisfy themselves, and then you will, when you die, you won't even be conscious of your existence, because reasoning only without consulting the feelings can go only thus far, no more, no more. cannot go. That's why they say, why should I bother about the after what when I die, and why should I bother about even my death? Because they really killed, murdered their feelings, denied their existence, although they practice it, but practice it only for temporary satisfaction. Okay. Suhail, want to say something? Your hand is up or previous hand?
I wanted, yeah, just to, I wrote down temporary love as a paradox. That was one thing. There's hypocrisy in that. I don't know how one can say temporary love is love, because at least to me, love sort of implies, as they say in English, everlasting love, or eternal love. To me, that's temporary love. That means, like, if you zoom out, then is that really love? If you take the black and white example, oh, I love you today, but I'm indifferent, or I hate you tomorrow, then that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how that could be called love. That's one thing I would say. And then the other thing, to your comment about what Farah was saying about experiential, you know, the thing is, I think people who didn't deny this human feeling, they even realize it, because, you know, quite often I'll hear these people say then, oh, okay, well, it does, you know, there's nothing after you die. It's just, you know, it's temporary. So the only meaningful part of your life is to make this world a better place, or for those around you, or to, I mean, essentially humanistic ideas, but to help those around you, or to leave it a better place. In other words, you can, like, these people can't even deny how they feel. Like, they will use their sort of need for something beyond death, or death to not be the end, their need for eternity, and they will sort of twist it to say that, oh, okay, well, maybe I can't live forever, but maybe my work, my perceived good work, so to speak, quote unquote good works, will live on forever. My legacy will live on forever, even though I'm dead in the ground and turned to dust. It's impossible. No, human beings can't deny how they feel, or this need for eternity. And I think that's why the Quran says that, I love not those that said. In other words, to me, it's acknowledging this is the universal need of human beings, and not just of love, but love by definition, then eternally. Because how can one say that I love those that said? It's impossible.
Thank you. Thank you. Good point. Nowadays, love is really associated with sexual desire. That's what I can see. And also, this sexual desire is in Arabic, ishtiha, shehwa. Yes, shehwa. It has two meanings, really. One is really desperate sexual desire. The other one is trying to obtain whatever I want. The Arabic word has two meanings at the same time, whereas English, we cannot say love for this word and for the next creation, eternal creation. I mean, in this civilization, such a concept doesn't exist. That's why when you say we love this, is only temporary satisfaction in this world. That's what I feel the people use. I use myself. Well, I love this. I love this. What? Something which looks nice, for example, or I loved my telephone, for example. Okay, that is what we use it. But the Quran means full satisfaction of our feelings. I'm continuing. I don't want separation. I don't desire separation. I cannot abide separation. That is Why this repetition of the same meaning with different phrases? It is a very strong feeling. For example, no one gets married saying that, okay, we are going to get married, have 2, 3 children, and then hate each other. No one wants that. When they are, if they are really trying, if they really get married, rather than sexual desire and a company for one's in one's life, accompanying, and also, you know, every human being needs this kind of satisfaction in this world as well. So they don't mind separation because they say, I find another one. So we shouldn't confuse that. But real, sincere people who want to get married, for example, they don't get married on the base of separation. No, they believe that they are going to love each other. At least if they don't believe in the hereafter in this world, and if they believe in the hereafter, will continue in the hereafter, which is a, as far as I experience in my life, very rare case that people get married in order to be together eternally. So love forever. So that is just a dream of this civilization. They don't believe in it. This civilization doesn't believe. Okay, for continuing, for meetings followed immediately by separation are not worth sorrow and grief. Don't bother about them. They are not worthy of being longed for. Really, don't trust them. They are not worthy. I mean, I am reading it. I intellectually understand it, what the texts say, but it is easy in practical life. I'm not aware of what I'm doing in this world, really. So I don't feel the pain of investing my life in this world. I don't feel the pain in it because of not, I don't have the or necessary tool to practice, to be aware of it. No, because I don't really think about it. Negligence, complete negligence. I find myself immersed in negligence. I'm not really consciously aware. If I'm doing this, what is my purpose there? Am I really waiting for an satisfaction? Or is there any way to transfer this means into eternal satisfaction? How? You see, I wanted to have a house which lasts 500 years, like a great, I don't know how it is said, chateau, big blocks of stones, rocks, so that it will never fall, as if. So they know that they are going to die in it, but they don't think about it. They concentrate on the longer duration of the lifespan of the building itself. That's why the kings make their palaces so strong, etc., because of just vain, hopeless expectations. Why? They don't think that they are going to die, but the thing will last. Okay, it may last longer than your lifespan, but you won't last. We don't think about it. I don't think about it. So imagining the passing of pleasure is also a pain. That is important. That is really very important. this phrase is really very important. Imagining the passing of pleasure is also a pain. I think we appreciate the importance of this phrase. Again, because of negligence, not being really conscious of what I am doing, I don't see the pain. I don't feel the pain. As soon as somebody or something reminds me, for example, a close relative, my father, mother, or somebody very close to me, dies, then the most delicious food I am eating with my spoon or fork, as soon as I hear this, what happens? My spoon, my fork drops down with my hand. Why? Really, whether we admit it or not, I see my end in this news that, let's say, somebody's mother died. Somebody's mother died. And they start speaking with a low voice, completely fallen into despair. Why? He was enjoying a few minutes ago his meal and said, oh, a great meal or something. And then finish. Because it reminded, that is the main problem I am experiencing. I keep telling this today and sharing my feelings with you. Negligence in Arabic, ghafla. Main problem is ghafla. Negligence, not being conscious of what I am doing, just following the flood or flow of the society. That's it, mostly what I do. The works of all the metaphorical lovers, not real lovers, but temporary, but not paying attention to the temporariness side of the thing and loving it. That is the works of poetry on love. They write poetry on the beloved one, usually the opposite gender, are all cries at the pain arising from imagining this passing. Actually, nowadays, I don't see the poetry, the subject of any poetry is really in this field, but classical poetry, especially among the Muslim poets. So the poems written by Muslims are great poems. We see that the real scenario is going on. I love something, which is represented by an opposite gender, by the way, but they don't mean it. They speak in a metaphorical way exactly what the text is saying. I want to get it, I desire it, but I can never, ever get it in this world. I can never get it in this world. That is the pain, that is what the poem is about, the pain of separation, not being really satisfied, not really getting what I want in this world. That is very well described in classical Muslim poetry or poems. If you were to constrain the spirit of all the works of poetry, from each would flow these grievous cries. That is, I'm sure the author is referring to here classical and Muslim poems. I don't know Western poems or poetry. That is, if anybody knows that in Western poetry also same scenario is studied or analyzed, but Muslim poetry, yes. Western poetry, I don't know. Do they express? I don't know who studied Romeo and Juliet. Is there any such thing that they cannot meet together at the end of the story? Anybody who studied it or read it really simply?
Well, they meet in secret.
No. At the end, Romeo and Juliet, I think.
They commit suicide at the end.
Do they meet? Do they meet? And that's it. I got it. Or at the end they can. They won't.
Well, they do meet, but then they commit suicide at the end.
Yeah. Then they commit suicide. Correct.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Both of them.
Because they can't be together. Correct.
Yeah. So that is something like Eastern poetry actually. Leyla ve Mecnun, Kerem and Aslı. This kind of poetries. Persians are perfect on it, really. Very, very, very successful in this area. So something like either the Shakespeare has really analyzed himself seriously, or like some other philosophers, the later generation philosophers, Western philosophers, brought the subject of mostly from Buddhist theology and made a new philosophy in the Western world. Some aspects of Buddhist philosophy. So they read or they become aware of it and then come to the Western world and use it. Maybe Shakespeare himself as a human being realized this, that eternal meeting in this world is impossible. So you have to look for any source which is beyond this world. So in the poetry, as the author says, you see nothing but grievous cries of separation. Thus, it is due to the pain and tribulations of those meetings, stained with transitoriness, those sorrowful, metaphorical loves, not real satisfactory, but really temporary, ephemeral loves, that my heart weeps and cries through the weeping of I love not those that sat. Using this verse again, La uhibbul afilin, my heart expressed this. Look, not the reason, my heart expresses this feeling that I love not those that sat. It means transient. We started 10-15 minutes late, so if you don't mind, can we continue another 10 minutes or so?
Sure.
All right. But if somebody has to leave, of course, we cannot really keep. But if you have time, let's do a little bit more reading. If I want permanence in this transitory world, here we are, here. Permanence comes from transitoriness. Well, we studied this, but it is a very, very important approach for the solution to the universe, for a solution. Permanence, well, it's apparently contradictory sentence. Permanence comes from transitoriness. Something like, what is the word for it?
Paradox, oxymoron.
Oxymoron, yeah, paradox, oxymoron. Isn't it? Permanence comes from transitoriness. As it stands, it is really oxymoron. But let's read further. Find transience with regard to your evil commanding soul so that you may be enduring. This evil commanding soul, what I understand from it, self-centered interpretation of existence. It means everything exists by itself. That's what I understand, evil commanding soul. This human being can say, I exist by myself, so I'm not going to think about, be concerned with anything beyond my capacity. And also, the universe, any part of the universe exists by itself as a reflection of my interpretation of my own existence, so that you may be enduring. Why? If we find the transience of this attitude itself, but feelings will say, no, I don't want it, then feelings will realize through understanding that there is no source of satisfaction by using our reasoning. Because reasoning what? Can only say la ilaha. Therefore, there must be, and full stop. What? Because I cannot find in the universe and I cannot operate beyond the universe. So feelings comes up and says, look, my expectations cannot be found within the field of or domain of reasoning. It means within the universe. So there must be something. That is the solution. When we say, for example, if somebody tells me, think about eternity, it depends. If I define myself in a self-existing being, accidental or whatever, by my own nature, etc., or within my own evolvement in the course of time, naturally, if somebody comes to me, if I have this understanding, if someone comes to me, think about eternity, I wouldn't be able to. I won't be able to. And that is why those people who define human being only in terms of bodily existence, bodily comfort, bodily health, all these concerns of this century, why they don't take notes of the feelings? Because of their definition. Only reasoning they use, and they shut off their feelings. They use only their reasoning. Look, when I die, look, is there any, they use their reasoning. Is there any continuation of anything after, for example, look, my daddy died. Is there any continuation of nothing is there? I will be the same. Why should I bother? Because I defined myself as self-existing being within this universe. I don't need for a source of existence externally to my existence, externally to the really transient existence of the universe. Okay, reason said la ilaha. But feelings say, so I want something else. If I deny feelings, there is no hope for me to imagine eternity. Impossible. Or an absolute being, for example, eternal, infinite being as a creator. I cannot imagine it. That's why in this world, if you say you need eternal satisfaction, no one listens to you. Why? The civilization heavily imposing the idea that our satisfaction is only what the psychologists suggest to us. Try to imagine this, try to do that. You may really release yourself from the pain. Say, look, this is my reality. I am obese. Okay, I am obese. So what? That is what the philosophy of this century is. And I'm going to die. Yes, I am going to die. So what? But you need feeling. No, there is no feeling. Don't cheat yourself. After death, everything is dying. Everything is gone. Finish. Why do you bother? That's why the psychologists, of course, materialist psychologists, find this kind of solutions within the universe, doing something else, experiencing something else. Don't forget this. Get a dog. In the morning, when the dog starts weaning, you cannot really stand it. Of course, this is something feeling. They ignore that side. And you have to wake up. That is what you can get out of the bed. Otherwise, there is no way for you to get out of the bed. You can really get away from your loneliness by speaking to the dog, communicating with the dog, playing with the dog. It obeys you. Or cats. But cats not like dogs. Somehow it is a little bit different. So what I understand that in some madhab, in Islamic schools, dog is haram just because of this. It is totally, the dogs are totally obedient to their owner who feeds it. If you buy a dog, first it looks at you in a strange way. And then you keep feeding it, they become a loyal friend to you. And they serve you. They kill, they don't mind killing themselves, putting themselves in danger of death in order to protect you. Look at this, temporary solution for the obedience of something else to your feelings. That is why I would say, if anybody hears it, I don't think so here, if you have a dog, don't cheat yourself. Definitely get rid of this dog. Leave him free. When they don't let you leave it free. So sell it and get rid of it. It is just cheating yourself within this universe because it really makes a false appearance that you are satisfying yourself with communication with a dog because it obeys you. That is very, very egoistic attitude. That is why human beings love in this century two things, dogs and cars. They die for the car. They die for the dogs. Why? Both of them obeys totally to our feelings, our will, free will. Car, I can take it anywhere I want. It said, take me to this place. It takes me. That's why everybody wants a how do you say? Trustful, durable car. I don't remember. I couldn't remember.
Reliable.
Reliable car. Why? So if the car is a reliable car, it will obey me. Anytime I want, any speed I want, it will take me anywhere I want, as fast as I want. That is a kind of dog. We have to be very careful. We may not have a car, we may not have a dog, but most probably all of us have a car, if not more. And we have to watch out. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have it, by the way. Huh? But having a car is outside my house. Having a dog, it is in me, even in my bedroom. And it looks like, because they are alive, as if communicating with me. As they get familiar with you, they start playing with you. They obey you. That is why egocentric people love the dogs much more than the cars. They love cars as well. That is what the only solution for them. So if you want permanence in this world, this transitory world, permanence in this transitory world, permanence comes from transitoriness. We talked about it. We will find a solution in the transient nature of this world. With one condition, we have to make our feelings function. It means we have to accept that we have feelings. We are human beings. We are not animals. Find transience with regard to your evil commanding soul, so that you may be enduring. Let me see, somebody has written something. As Israel said, man's best friend, as they say. Yeah, correct. Today's civilization, divest yourself of bad morals, get rid of them. Bad morals means self-centered concerns. The basis of the worship of this world, this is the self-centered concerns, the basis of the worship of this world. Why? Because everything is explained by itself. So we can say, we may delude ourselves that I explained everything. We exist by myself. The universe exists by itself eternally. Yeah, I will die, but at least I exist by myself until I die. It's contradictory, of course, logically inconsistent, but this world cannot use this civilization doesn't use even their reasoning, let alone their spirit. Be transitory. What does it mean? I don't understand. Sacrifice your goods and property in the way of the true beloved. I see. Accept that your existence is transitory. I think that's what I understood. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Sacrifice your goods and property in the way of the true beloved. What does it mean? I'm not going to give up my house, let's say my car, to God, to true beloved. Why? Use them as a means of reaching out to the true beloveds. It means, look, I got the best job. I'm just well-paid person now, okay? But it doesn't satisfy me. What does it mean? I cannot find any beloved here. Oh, thank you, my job. You remind me my reality. You are not satisfied. You cannot satisfy me, but I must look for the point of or source of satisfaction for myself. Thank you for reminding me. See the ends of beings. Yeah, it is going to end as well. And you will look forward to retirement. When you get retirement, you won't know, because you are conditioned to work and arrange your life accordingly. you will fall into despair again, loneliness again, because you get out of your routine life. Oh, many people have psychological problems when they retire. So what I was expecting when I was working, oh, I will get retirement and go, typical stupid things. Not stupid, but that is the solution for them. You are going to retire and I'm going to go and join a world tour. So what? You will come back again. World is round. If you go one direction continuously, as if you are going away, at the end, you end up with where you started. That is the reality of the world. That's so true. See the ends of beings which point to non-existence. At the end, they won't exist. You realize that. For the way leading to permanence in this world starts from transitoriness. It means starts from realizing the transitory nature of everything in this world. I think this point is a good point to stop today. Would you like to add anything, comment, share, whatever? Otherwise, I will just stop the recording, inshallah. Any comment, anything? Okay, that's enough. I think we have had more than an hour, a little bit more than an hour. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. That's what when we realize the source of ilm, knowledge that we have, that's correct. Otherwise, as to be the origin of any knowledge by myself, no. Only I can know what my Creator allowed me through giving me the capacity to know. That's it. So the source of existence of my knowledge is His willing, His choice, His will. I have to accept it. Subhanaka la ilma lana. There is no knowledge for us, illa ma 'allamtana, except you taught us. Innaka antal alimul hakim. That is the declaration of angels before God and Adam's position compared to them. But that is the reality of ourselves, inshallah.